Hi everybody, it's Annette from the Art of Intuition, and today we are talking about transitionary periods and what exactly transitionary periods mean in higher consciousness realities and why we have them. We also have them in human realities, but we don't really want to see that. And what we'll normally do is we will call something a transitionary period in a human reality, but it really means we just kind of want to jump right back into the same thing we just are trying to get out of because we don't know what else to do. That's when we kind of loop. We keep looping into something and looping back into the same stuff. Might be with the same people, might not be. We just kind of keep repeating stuff. We get into, hey, why do I keep repeating something? I don't understand. Why am I repeating this? Because we don't give ourselves the transitionary period. And in human realities, we do that a lot. Or we'll kind of we either get out of something, we don't give ourselves the transitionary period, or we stay in that, we kind of stay and hold on to that transitionary period for so long, not really using the transitionary period at all until we see something else. Even though it might have been a year since the last thing. It doesn't even matter what it was for you. But we won't actually try to really get out of it until we see the next sort of reality, right? And that's kind of the humans go to also, because you don't jump till you see the next ship, right? You're not going to jump off and start swimming unless you can see where you're swimming to. But in the higher realities, we don't have that. We don't usually know what we're swimming to. We just know this ship is sinking, and I've got to kind of figure out, am I bailing water for a while, or are we just going to jump off? So this is what we're going to talk about today. Are we bailing water? Do we jump off? And what is the transitionary period for, and what is the transitionary period? So you're going to find when a reality starts to close. And what I have found that normally for me, when reality starts to close, it basically means my vibration has now gotten to a point where the reality I'm in can't support it. The place I live can't support it. Maybe the area I'm at can't support it. And I'm not really in a linear job anymore, but if you are in that, it might be the job you're in can't support your new vibration either. Your body's physically moved to a different vibration and it needs a different support. And where you're at can't do that. It could be the area of the world. It could be anything. You'll know what it is that's not supporting you. One sign is sometimes you're not, maybe if it's a job, you're not getting the promotion you wanted. The money is not what you wanted it to be in a sense. You might not be getting the money to support the reality anymore. All signs that something is closing out. Now, when we get to that sign something is closing out, in our human reality, we never wanted to see that. We kind of just let it close on top of us. We get to a certain consciousness where we know this is closing out. This is too hard. Sometimes that's how I get to it. This is too tough. This shouldn't be this tough. This didn't used to be. It used to be an easy breezy kind of reality, and now I'm like struggling daily with it. What is going on? And even when we're in a really higher consciousness than we were before, sometimes we don't want to see it. We don't want to see we have to end something. We don't want to see we have to kind of do something, in a sense. Even though we're doing stuff all the time, oh, now I got to add this to the list of things I got to do. Now I got to move, or now I got to quit this job, or now I got to end this relationship, whatever it is. I got to do all these things. I got to put all these stuff on my list. Because what you're going to find is your body vibration is paramount to your soul. That's its first priority. And if whatever you're involved in is not supporting that or no longer supports that, it will be showing you very quickly you have to get out of it because it's not supporting what you have to do next. So you're not going to have what you need to stay here. This is not going to be comfortable the longer you try to stay here because you're not supposed to be here anymore. And you got to go. And if you're not going to go, we're going to continue to make it uncomfortable. You can wait till the whole thing collapses, or you can just proactively say, okay, I know I got to go. Now, once you kind of make that decision, it's okay, now I know I got to go. Then we're kind of in that, do I jump ship or am I bailing water out of this one for a little while longer? Now, normally we will be bailing water out for a little while longer, and that's what kind of the transitionary period, we're going to talk about. 4 minutes and 30 seconds, I got to it. But we're going to be talking about that period. What is that for? And why do we get that? And we normally always get that. I've yet to end something. I didn't have that transitionary period. We just see that's what it is. It's not for us to re-anchor in the old reality. It's not time for us to repair the ship. Normally if it's a place, you might find like over the years, you might have upgraded the place, or if you rent, your landlord might have upgraded the place. And that was all to keep your vibration at a certain point because your vibration was going higher and higher. And all these things were coming in to keep you at that certain vibration to support you. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, it doesn't matter what we do here. And you might have also seen that at a job. Little things where, someone you didn't, maybe a boss you didn't enjoy, they left. Your vibration was now too high for that person. They're not there. You got a new boss. It can play out in a lot of different ways. I'm just going to give you a couple of examples, but it's a zillion other ways it can play out. But you might have seen along the way certain things happen. All of a sudden you didn't have to go in the office anymore. You could telecommute, and that made it easier. So you could hold on to it a little bit longer. But knowing it was fading, it just wasn't time for it to fade out. It was a line in Buffy the Vampire, one of their episodes. I used to be a huge Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan, and it was, is the ending here or is the ending near? I'm not sure where we are yet. Am I bailing water? Am I jumping? Where am I here? So when we're in that kind of bailing water period, when we kind of know it's over and it's just, okay, let me get prepared for that. And that's more for us to get energetically prepared for the next thing. A lot of times we can't see it. One, we have too many cords attached to the old. We have too many reasons we don't want to go. We create all these stories about what's going to happen if we do go. We don't want to kind of take that leap and move forward. So we have a lot of stuff going on with what's going on with us. We know it's ending, and we might be sad about that. There might be people you won't see anymore. There might be different things you wanted to do, and you weren't supposed to do those things. In that reality, you weren't supposed to. So maybe your human wanted to do certain things here, and that's not going to happen anymore. Now your body's vibration is always going to be paramount. The soul will not care about anything else. That's what your soul's priority is, your vibration. And once you put that as a priority, it'll be a lot easier ride. I promise you that. If you don't put that as a priority, it's going to be rough, because your soul's always going to be moving you to the highest vibration place. And once we can start recognizing these transition periods, utilize them for what you can utilize them for. Maximize that time and resolve any issue you have with leaving, knowing, hey, it looks like it's about time. And sometimes we might bail water in that bail water phase where we're just sort of preparing. If you're moving, okay, I got to move. I might have to break a lease. I might have to move. I might have to sell my house. Let me just look around. What furniture am I going to take? Maybe you'll start imagining where you might want to go. Maybe you won't even be there yet, knowing that all that might change. You might not be able to see it yet. Normally, we don't see it yet. We don't even see the ship on the horizon. We don't know what's coming next, because we're not in a vibration to see it yet, because we have all the other old stuff going on about leaving the old. So we can't see it yet. We're blocked in a sense. So until we clear all that stuff, we cry it out. We get pissed off. We have to end it. We get pissed off maybe how we have to end it, because we wanted to end it a different way, or we wanted something to happen before we ended it. We wanted to have that human physical thing we wanted to happen, whatever it was. But now we're in this thing going, I know it's done. And for me, the marker is normally, I see a hearse, I see a car that looks like a hearse, or I see something, a dead animal. Like when I see a dead animal and I'm looking at a reality and I like almost trip over or something that's died in front of me, if I'm outside, I'm like, I know, that's my answer. This is dead, and you need to understand that this is going, and just batten down the hatches. And in a sense, just start, don't spend any time repairing the boat. Just keep things afloat until you can see the next step, because it will come to you. Sometimes we kind of know the end's coming, because perhaps something that's coming in might not look the way we want it to look. It might look a little backwards, a little upside down, but we're kind of almost on the horizon looking, saying, okay, I know there's another thing I got to go to, but because it might not look the way I want it to look, and if I didn't know I was ending something else and something was going to pop in a sense, I might overlook that. I might not see that as an opportunity, because I'll go, I'll just stay here. But your universe is going to show you can't anymore. So once you kind of know that, and it might not be time to physically put an ending on it yet. It might not be time to put the house on the market. It might not be time to quit the job. It might not be time to tell the landlord you're gonna break your lease. It might not be time for any of that stuff. It might not be time to break up with your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend. It might not be time for those things, or get rid of your animal, whatever it's going to be for you. It might not be time for that stuff. It just might be time for you to energetically start detaching. That's what this transitionary part is. Start detaching. Cords of attachment you have to it, the stories you had attached to it, what you wanted it to be, what you wanted to achieve here. All those things got to go. They've got to go. That's why you can't see the next thing. That's that final thing that's blocking you. you know, why you can't get to that next place, because you're too kind of still, you still have cords pulling you back to it, you know, so your body's trying to go, your conscious and body are trying to go one way, and you still got like these tentacles trying to keep you ingrained there, and it's you feel like you're getting pulled apart because you know you got to go, you don't know where you're going yet, but you know you can't stay here. It's that old trope in the bar. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, and that's kind of what your mantra's got to be sometimes. So when you're in that period, look at what you have to resolve. Start resolving it. Start making plans. If you need to do some painting, if you're going to sell your house, start doing the painting. If you're going to get rid of furniture, you know, certain things you're not going to move, start thinking, okay, I'm going to get rid of these. I'll post these things when you feel okay. And you might set a marker up, you know, to say, okay, when this happens, whatever this is going to be for you, I received a text from this person, this happens, then I'll know that's my marker, that it's time to now activate. It's time to give my notice. It's time to talk to the spouse. It's time to, you know, do whatever it is. That's my marker. But until then, I know this is a dying timeline. I know I can't stay. I want to close it out in the highest possible place. So sometimes I usually ask for that. You know, I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm really just asking higher versions of myself. Like, okay, I know we got to close this out. Let me close this out as easily as possible in my highest place. Sometimes we're in realities where we can't do that. Most of the time we can, you know, sometimes other people might not like how we do it. So sometimes we don't have the energetic capacity yet to do that. That's going to kind of depend on where you are, but you get to certain spaces where you know, look, I need to close this out in the highest place. And that also means you don't have any cords around it. You're not dragging anything else from the old in. You've resolved the whole thing. You know you're ending. You know it's almost done. And you start kind of getting exciting about the new. You might get frustrated it's not here yet, you know, because you're like, okay, I know this is going. I know I have my marker in place. I know I'm waiting in a sense. I'm just going to kind of tread water. Sometimes we're in that transitionary period. We're not quite ready yet. And the other reality might not quite be ready yet. So it might be better for you to set there for maybe another 6 weeks instead of transitioning over too soon to where it might not be as pleasant. Your universe is going to give you the smoothest ride it can. Depending on if you procrastinated, if you've waited, you're going to find different things all along the way here. It's going to try to give you the smoothest ride. So just kind of go with the wave and be on the lookout for things that you might not have considered before, unless you knew your ship was sinking. You know, sometimes if we think our ship's okay and a dinghy comes by, we're going to be like, nah, wait, my ship's fine. But when you know that this is ending and that dinghy comes by, you might jump on that dinghy and not knowing it's going to lead you to the yacht, you know, 2 miles up you can't see yet, but you're going to jump on the dinghy. Whereas before you might have overlooked that dinghy and been like, nah, I'm good, I'll wait. So just be on the lookout. Like I said, usually they come in backwards. They come in from people you don't expect. It might be half a conversation you have about, yeah, I'm looking for this type of job, or, you know, I'm moving and I'm not sure where, and all of a sudden this person might have a place. And I'm like, oh, I had a place over here. Do you want to come look at it? You know, you're going to find pretty much all our stuff comes through relationships we build. That's why we put so much into our relationships, because most of the opportunities that we have come through that. So when you're in that transitionary period, you know something's ending, take your time to grieve it. Take your time to mourn it. All that stuff's in the way of the new stuff, okay? You can't kind of skip over that part. You can't skip over the part of letting the old go. A lot of us kind of want to and just get to the new, but you have so much resistance around it in the body, that crying, the grieving, that we don't want to do that part. And that's critical. If we don't do that part, then we're kind of still holding a lot of it, and we're going to just kind of keep getting the same stuff, or we're going to wait and we're not going to leave. Like once you get through that transitionary phase and you've cut the cords in a sense, then you're just kind of ready to jump, and you're just waiting for that dinghy. You might even take a shark fin at that point. You're like, let me just get out of here, you know, because I know it's going to lead me somewhere better than where I am, because this is kind of, you know, I was gonna say another analogy, but that might be a little too far. It might be a little too far, so I think I'm gonna leave it at that. But you get the point. So okay, start looking for that dinghy and keep practicing the art of intuition.